So, Dan, let's talk about potential tropical cyclones. This is a term people may not be familiar with. Can you tell me, first of all, what that actually means?
Yeah, so potential tropical cyclone is a system that's not yet a tropical storm or hurricane, but that we think is going to develop into either a tropical storm or hurricane and impact land within our watch warning time, which is 36 to 48 hours. And we start issuing advisories on these systems so that we can go ahead and put up those watches and warnings and start alerting people to these threats.
Can you explain the difference between a potential tropical cyclone and when you log on to NHC's website and you see these blobs, these invest areas? How do they differ?
Yeah, so on our website, you'll see these various areas that are systems that could go on to form into a tropical storm or hurricane. But once that system is close enough to land and it could be a potential land threat, we will then go ahead and start to issue what we call potential tropical cyclone advisories. This is really a full forecast now for that system to be able for us to go ahead and issue those watches and warnings, and again start talking about what those impacts are going to be, putting out all those graphics that folks normally see, a cone graphic and everything else with that to again highlight that threat.
Okay, so how long has this been in practice now?
So we started this in 2017, and since that time, it's worked pretty well. Most of the systems have gone on to form and did impact land. And again, it's provided us with about an additional 21 hours on average of lead time on those watches and warnings. Before 2017, the Hurricane Center and the National Weather Service could not issue those tropical storm or hurricane watches and warnings until we actually had either a tropical depression or tropical storm. And so now, again, this allows us to go ahead and start issuing the products, issuing those advisories and warnings even before the system has formed. So again, we can highlight the threat to life and property.
Has there been any negative feedback from the public as far as understanding what this is?
I think the name does catch people a little bit. People aren't used to hearing us call systems tropical cyclones, but really a tropical cyclone is any type of tropical low pressure area, which means a depression, storm, or hurricane. It's kind of the more generic term for these. And so I think there's been some confusion around that. But again, I wouldn't focus too much on the name. Focus on the fact that the system could become a threat, a tropical storm or hurricane threat within the next couple of days. Heed those watches and warnings, listen to those forecasts when they're issued.
Any other new communication updates you guys have had in the last year or two? I know that there's been an addition to some advisories, warnings, storm surge for one. Anything new we should be looking out for, or that the general public should be looking out for when they hear warnings and watches come down?
I think the main thing is that newer storm surge watch and warning that's also been issued since about 2017, but we have to make sure that's really highlighted because it is that storm surge risk that we need people to evacuate from the coastline for. So if you hear a storm surge watch or warning, go to your local media, go to your local emergency management agency, find out what they're recommending you to do so that we can get folks out of those areas. It really is the strongest warning that we can issue ahead of a hurricane is that storm surge watch and warning.
Yeah, that's good to know. When there's a lot of information coming at you from all angles, and that's the one to really be listening for. Any other information or anything you want our viewers to know when it comes to the rest of the season? Because we're just kind of getting into the thick of things now, right?
Yeah, we are. We're just getting into the peak of the hurricane season. It's not unusual to not have had a lot of activity so far in the season, but this is the time period now, especially the next 2.5 months, the rest of August, September, and most of October, that we really start to see the activity pick up. It's a good time to remind folks to go out and make sure you have your supplies. If you haven't done that yet, now is a good time to do that before we get systems to form. And again, just be ready this hurricane season. Be ready to know what you and your family are going to do to stay safe.
Hey, thank you so much for watching. While you're here, check out some other videos you just may like.